I'm Dylan, and welcome to Twisted Rich Garage.
What's up, guys, and thanks for joining me on this episode of Twisted Wrench Garage. This week we're gonna get back into Black Pearl. If you guys caught some of the earlier videos of me building the truck, you guys may have noticed that it did have a stereo in it, and I've done a little searching in the truck. The passenger side speaker mount is missing, so I gotta find one of those. The driver's side is actually here, and I can feel a speaker behind it. So what I think I'm gonna try to do is I'm gonna try to pull that speaker mount off, dismount that speaker, and then I'm going to mount the speaker into the dash where the factory 4x10 speaker goes there, and we're going to try to see if we can get this stereo working. Been driving around here and there, taking Mikkel to work, going to the store, grabbing a couple of things, just doing the general shakedown. And there are some things I'd like to address, one of them being this radio. Try to get some tunes going in here. Even if it's just a old school Kenwood cassette player, it's still going to be something. I can listen to at least the radio while I'm waiting to pick up Mikkel or something. But there's a few other things that I wanted to take care of. The passenger mirror, the bolt that holds the bottom mount on it's stripped, and the little plastic piece that sticks into the door is stripped out. So I'm gonna have to try to see if I can get like a nut and a bolt on there to get that securely snug, because what's happening is when I tried to have my boy adjust the mirror, that bolt popped out and the mirror just flops. So we're gonna have to get that addressed. I also want to try to see if I can get the lighter socket working. That way, we're out and about, pulling a vehicle home or working on something. I have a lighter socket to, plug in phone charger, or a GoPro charger. Who knows? We definitely need something for that, just so we can charge stuff. It's all there. Looks like all the factory wiring is there. I've already gotten into some of the process of getting some of this stuff taken apart, because a lot of this is stuff you've already seen me do, pulling the cluster bezel off. But when it came to the ashtray, it was a little bit different there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's six screws holding that on, and I can show you where those are. But I know another issue that I found was I noticed that the passenger windshield wiper wasn't adjusted properly. So I was going to go to adjust it, and when I grabbed that arm, the bushing inside that wiper cowl just popped right off. So we definitely have some things to address. And the unit we got here is a Kenwood automatic noise reduction, auto reverse circuit, high power cassette player. Preset stations, AM, FM, clock radio, has a loud, and then it has some knobs on it here. Someone put a, I don't know, I'm kind of curious, what is that? That's a Budweiser cap. They put a Budweiser cap on the volume control. And the switch seems to work okay, but I did go ahead and pull the lighter off just so I can see up underneath there, because all these wires that are dangling down here, all of this stuff is actually from the radio. This is for the lighter socket and the light bulb for the ashtray, and that may need change too. But the 6 bolts, you have one here, there's going to be one on either side, and then on the back up underneath there's going to be 2. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is get this cluster bezel pulled back all the way off. I went ahead and dismounted this because I've got custom mounts that I made for this to actually get mounted to, so I kind of have to hold it in place while I'm putting it in and taking it out. So I'm gonna get this popped out. We're gonna try to get this stereo pulled out and see what we got going on for wires wise, because I know it's got its own little box down here, and it has its own fuses in it. And I remember when I very first hooked up the battery in this truck, this stereo was still temporarily wired in, I'm gonna call it, because I'll deal with that when I get to it. But it was just temporarily wired in there. Both the power wire and the accessory wire were just tied together and then hooked up to a 12-volt source, which they had it hooked up to the lighter, and then their ground they hooked up also to the lighter. So I mean, we might just take advantage of what they did and just kind of temporarily wired in there because, I mean, eventually I would like to get a better stereo in here with like Bluetooth capability, but you know, we got Halloween coming up, and we got Christmas coming up, and Thanksgiving, so budget's gonna be a little tight. So we're gonna be trying to keep things on the tighter end of the budget. So if we can get this stereo to work and use the speaker that we already have, as long as it works, you know, we'll be in good business for now. Per usual, you just remove all the screws like I've done before several hundred times, and you pop those clips out, and you'll be able to get this popped right out. And we'll just set it over here to the side, because I also got to clean that lighter out too. That's why I pulled the ashtray off, because I want to pull the actual lighter socket out of it. That way I can clean it and make sure that that's all good. So at least we're in good shape with the fact that it is using a install kit. So I can just remove 2 Phillips screws here. We'll just remove these 2 screws, one here and then one down at the other corner, and then this whole stereo will pull out with it. We got like 4-inch freaking screws here. There we go. There's one, and then the other one that's right down here. The sun's shining right on you guys, so it might be blinding you every once in a while, so I apologize for that. So now that those are out, this should just come right out. And I haven't taken this out before, so kind of get an idea what they got going on, because I don't believe any of this is hooked up. Yeah, none of this here is hooked up at all. So the only thing they got hooked up is the antenna. So there's the stereo out. So what we can do, we're gonna have to go and clean it up, and then we might be able to see on the radio itself like a sticker that tells us what wires go to where. If not, I'll figure it out. All right, so to get that speaker out so we can test it, you're gonna have to pull this piece of trim off here, as well as here, because there's a screw down in the base down here, and then down in the door down there. But that one down there is missing, so the only one I got to worry about is this one up here. So we pull off these trim screws here. Feel like I was just doing this not too long ago. Gotta like redoing work, but it's all right. I don't want that to fall, so I'm gonna hold that while I take it off by hand. All right. So then this piece, normally you'd have to pull off this back one because it overlaps, but since mine's broken, all I got to do is just undo the screw that's down here, and that trim piece will come off. All right, so then we got this one screw here. It should come off. It's not going to come completely off because the seat belt's still on, but it should pop off and then slide down. Oh, I'm missing a screw. See, even though I did this not too long ago, I forgot that there's a screw right back here behind the seat belt. So let me pull that one off too, and then we'll be able to get this speaker out of here. Definitely would be nice to find another one of these speaker mounts. They go right here in the corners of both sides. This truck had both corner speakers on both sides, and then both door speakers, and then it also has a spot in the dash for that 4x10. All right, so that kind of pulls away from there like so, and that gives us access to this screw right here, and that is the only screw that's going to be holding us up on this. So it's probably going to fall as soon as I get that screw out. Oh, nope. All right, cool. So it should pop out. Magnet on the back. Let's unplug it because it is still plugged in. Premium. So I'm hoping we're going to get some premium sound out of this speaker. No telling how old it is, but hopefully it works for us. We'll have to pull it out of this this mount so we can put it in the dash, but we got to make sure it works. So since we're not putting that back in here, I'm just gonna put this screw back in here so it doesn't get lost. And I'll just snug it up where it would normally be. And then when we go to put that speaker mount back in, we can put it all back. I'm just gonna go ahead and put all this back together. Now that we've got our speaker and our stereo kind of out, so we kind of know what we're working with. This is all I got. This is one speaker, and then this is a stereo I'm going to try to run. I do remember it powered on, so I think it may work for us. But what I did was just did a little quick Google search for the model number, and I found the wiring diagram for it online. KRC. It's a 2004, but this is a 3004. It's going to be generally the same. You're going to have red, which is red, which goes to the accessory, yellow, which is constant 12 volt, black is ground, and then we're going to use gray, which is the front right speaker for that. And then I just taped up all the rest somewhere because we're not going to be using those. So I'll get some wires added to this so we can get those hooked up. We need to get this speaker off of here. I'm going to bet it's a 9/32. Nope, one size bigger. So we'll have to remove these two little nuts here, and that'll let us pull this speaker away, and hopefully that thing works. It looks like the cone inside there is still in good shape. Doesn't look like it's any kind of damage, so I don't have any doubt that probably work. It even has a Chrysler on it right there, Chrysler Star. I'm going to show you guys a little bit of what I've got going on here. This right here is the original plugs for the stereo. I'm pretty sure. I'm about 75% sure. This is our constant power I'm going to hook up to. This is our accessory power, and then none of this other stuff I'm gonna use. This orange one's gonna be for like illumination for the factory radio and such. But just using a test light, I can just check each one of these. There's a little prong here on the outside you can check. This one here is gonna be constant power. This one's gonna be when the key is turned on. So let me turn that on. So now when the key is on, that will have power. And then we'll just tap in our ground with that lighter down there, because this is just really a temporary install, because it's just going to be something I'm going to use for now until I get a replacement. So let's get this harness plugged in. I've just got a little bit of speaker wire, twisted pair of speaker wire put on there. Just some stuff I have laying around the house here, guys. I'm not trying to spend a bunch on this right here. So I'm just going to plug these two in there. Well, I would if I put the right end on them. Those are female, and these need to be male, so I need to change these. Whoops. But we'll get that plugged in, get the ground hooked up, and then we'll just temporarily hook up the speaker for now just to see if everything's working. Alright, so I have that stuff placed in there. I'm gonna go ahead and plug this in. I don't have my ground hooked up just yet. I'm gonna plug this in, get my wires stuffed back there. I'm gonna give at least the power portion a test. We'll plug that in. Plug the antenna in. Okay. We're gonna need to shove our speaker wire down in there because it's gonna have to run over to that speaker. I just left plenty of length on here, so I'll just cut off what I don't need. This kind of set back in its spot. Well, I didn't get my ground down in there. And you might be able to see I'm using a wire nut on this. Like I said, this is just a temporary radio install for now, until I get another one that's got like Bluetooth on it. But I'm not gonna make it like the one that's in my black truck or my red truck. I'm just gonna, oh, there's one screw. Just gonna go with like just regular old Bluetooth, you know, radio. That way I can hook my phone up to it and such. Alright, let's get this screwed back in here just to hold it in place, and then I'll hook up that ground and we'll test some stuff out. Alright, it's all temporarily hooked up. Sorry for the buzzer noise. Let's turn the key on. You guys can't tell on there on the screen. Let's see. If I can, hey, you can kind of see that it's turned on.
It's time for a Thunderfest break.
Well, we got sound
Your Thunder, your way with the flexible
coming out of their speaker. It's not very clean. Probably the volume button being dirty. Since we got the radio installed and it's all working, we know that the speaker works. We're mounting the speaker up in here. I'm just using some nuts and bolts. I've got poking through the bottom of the speaker because you can't really get to this corner over here. So you've got to put the bolt in the speaker, wedge the speaker up in, and get this started before you get this other one going. But this cover right here, I know some people might not know how to pop it off, but it just simply slots in right in here, and then there's a lip on this end that actually slides down in. So if you want to pop it off, you actually need to get in here and pop this end off, and then you can slip it out. But my speaker's installed, so all I need to do is just put my cover back on, and then all I got to do is hook up the two speaker wires going to this. Then we should be able to just put all this back together. Easiest way to get to that speaker, as you guys can tell, is you just pop your glove box out and down, and then you'll be able to access that speaker right here. It's all patched up. Got the cover for the speaker on, got all the dash stuff put back on here. I still got to put the cluster bezel and stuff on there, but let's turn that key on. Let's turn that radio on. Oh yeah, we got some tunage now. I don't want to play it too long. I don't want to get copyright strike. But we got some tunes now, so now we can actually listen to some music when we are driving around in this old rig. So let's get this finished up, getting this put back together, and then I need to see about popping the passenger door panel off, see if we can get that mirror mounted properly so it can actually be adjusted. What's up, guys, and thanks for joining me on another day at Twisted Wrench Garage. Definitely enjoying this cooler weather. It's starting to get a little chilly. One of the things that I wanted to take care of on this video was going to be this mirror over here. The bottom bolt, well, it's on like a triangle. You have one over here, and then one over here on the bottom. Basically, the one on the bottom is pulled out from its mount, and it won't stay bolted anymore. So I have to actually pull the door panel off, and actually I'm going to use a nut and a bolt to try to actually cinch it back in, because I can't actually adjust the mirror, and it's also scratching the outside of my truck on the fender. Let me show you. You can clearly see it, you know, it's sticking out, and right there it caught my fender right there. So we definitely need to get that addressed so we're not causing more damage. All right, so if you haven't caught any of the other episodes where I pulled these door panels off, I don't have to worry about the bottom part. I just need to worry about this part up here. One of the things you're going to need to do on an electric door panel is you got to be pretty gentle with this switch, but the black plastic piece actually pops out of this chrome piece, and it's easier if you do it from this top section here, and then you'll be able to pull it out and up, and then you'll be able to unplug it. I do have the battery disconnected right now. I normally leave it disconnected just for the sheer fact of I don't want to come out here and have a dead battery, because I haven't really left it plugged in for that amount of time just yet. So now with that out of the way, we're going to need to remove our handle here again. Pretty sure that's a 3/8. Got our ratchet set up here. Get her in loosen. These handles have always been a pain in the butt. There we go. Then with just a Phillips head screwdriver, you can get behind here, and there's going to be 2 screws that hold this handle on that go through the door. One here, and then one on this other side. You can tell I don't have that little strap on this end. It busted off at some point in its life. So we'll remove these 2 screws, and that'll let us pull our handle off. We're just kind of setting everything down here to the side. Normally there would also be a screw right inside here where the handle is. I don't have that in right now because I don't have my armrests on. The armrest actually goes here, and then there's a plate that goes underneath it that actually has a bracket that goes down to this and helps bolt the door panel to the door. But I don't have that in right now because of that. So think at this point we're ready to start popping some clips off. Just going to use just this tool here. You normally want to use a door panel clip tool. I'd like to use this one just because it's what I have. We're just going to work our way around and start popping these clips out until we go all the way around the door. And then eventually we'll be able to pop it off. Come on. Alright, there's our door panel off. So now I just need to get my arm back in there and see if I can get that nut and bolt on. Now you guys might be able to see this mount right here. That's one for one of them on the mirror. The other one is all the way back inside there. So I gotta see if I can get this nut and bolt started to get this going. I got Mason out here to help me because I can't be on both sides of the door at the same time. So I've got a wrench on there inside here. I'm gonna tighten this up while he holds it. And then once it's snug, we're good to go on this, I think. All right, I think that's good. Let's take a look. There's our new bolt. Not too much different from our old one there, so you can't really tell that much. And it's nice and sturdy, so now I can actually adjust that mirror without having to see it flopping in the wind. And then we just repeat the process of putting this all back together. Put our window switch through our hole here. I like to get the top clips lined up first. Sometimes you got to move it a little bit. Okay. Which one are we having trouble? Right here. If you just follow around the outside as you're going, because some of them won't line up perfect, so you'll have to get them kind of lined up better. That's the door panel on. We'll just go ahead and put this handle back on here. A little windy today. That's why I got you guys in the truck for sure. Now this is the part I don't like. All right. This handle is always a pain, but if you can get it started, if I can get it pulled out here. Yeah, see, I'm starting to pull that out. I'm gonna grab a pair of pliers and try to pull this out because I already cracked some of the paint off of where I painted in here, so I don't want to do any more damage. All right, with a little help of some pliers, I was able to get it started, and now I'm just snugging it up. Last thing I got to put on, because I don't have the screw here for that yet, or the handle, but I do have an idea for this. Plug our window switch back in. They don't make these very... There we go. It's got to go down and then in. It's kind of an odd setup, but there we go. I guess the only thing I gotta do is just double check, make sure that window's working, but I'm sure that's working, so let's move on to the next thing I wanted to get done today. And not too long ago I actually did get these all working and fixed, but I was adjusting this, trying to adjust this arm because it was up too high just on its stationary point. It needs to be about there, but as you can tell, it came apart from its arm down there, so I need to get this wiper cowl off, see if I can get that arm back on. First step in getting in there again, we got Phillips head screws here and this cowl all the way down. We got to remove. We also have to remove these arms, so maybe I should do that first. I think I remember putting some grease, some like wheel bearing grease on this before I put it on, so it should make it a little easier. See if I can put a towel underneath there, pop it off here. I always hate doing these things. They're always such a pain to get off. I always end up scratching my paint. Come on. If you guys know an easier way to do this, please share. Alright, so I got both of them off. It was a challenge. And I did put some grease on there, some of that white lithium grease. Try to help get it to come off of there easy. No, I didn't use wheel grease, I used white lithium, so maybe I'll use some wheel grease this next time I put this back together. Alright, back to removing the cowl now. Okay. I'm missing one screw. Not too bad. One of them is being used as a ground for my windshield wiper motor. That's not factory, that's something I did because that motor needed grounded, and it's from like a Dakota, from like a 94, 95 Dodge Dakota. Sorry for the noise over there. Neighbor working on their vehicle too. It's a nice day to do it, so that's what we're out here doing. There's one last screw right here. We'll be ready to remove it. See if I can get it without letting it fall. Okay. So we'll just set that aside for now. Let's get that cowl off. Easiest way I find, you just pull out away from the vehicle, like so, on both sides. To get it out from underneath this windshield lip, and then you can lift it up and off. Trick is getting it back underneath that lip all the way across. Get this out of the way. And right there is our culprit of what came off, so we need to get that back on to this mechanism here. You guys might be able to see down in there. I'm kind of doing it blind right now, but I got to get that rod back on here. It's gonna be kind of a challenge. It's got to be pressed on. I don't know if I'll be able to get my pliers in there to grab it or not. Let's see. It sounds like it popped on. Alright, I guess I can try it. I forgot I need my ground. Seems to be working. I'm gonna let it run for a minute, see if it pops back off. Well, I'm gonna call that a victory. So let's get the wiper cowl back on and the wiper arms back on, and that'll be done. And there's only one more thing I wanted to get done. Here comes the tricky part, getting it underneath that seal. I think I got it started over here. Let me grab something to... So what I do is I get that all in there partially, and I'm just going to use like a flathead or something with some tape on it, and I'm going to run it across the edge as I'm pushing it in. Alright, so there's my screwdriver just with some masking tape on it. I just don't want to do it damage anything. I got that side started over there. This side is not quite started. Get it past a certain point. Really usually in the middle. So let me get a screw started on this side. This side's all the way in and underneath that seal, so this will kind of hold this side in as I'm pushing that side. Because it'll want to kick back out this way when I push that end in. So that just helps prevent that. So. Right in there. There we go. Now we can just pull that. Do it again over here. There we go. Run that along the seal, make sure it's in. Now we just replace those Phillips heads. Well, the last thing I wanted to do today, to get it out from underneath some of this stuff, it's a little windy as you guys can tell because of the noise, but I've got a sticker for the back of this thing. I've been driving around so much, I haven't even put the decal on the back window, and I've had it for about a week, and I wanted to get it on video for you guys. I'm all out of glass cleaner, so I'm going to use some of this LA's Totally Awesome cleaner, degreaser, spot remover. It'll work. I want to get my window clean so my stickers, my decal is sticking to something good. I may even take a razor blade over this just to make sure it's nice and clean. So I also got to do some measuring because I want to get it in the middle. Tell if that's on the inside or outside right there. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go grab a razor blade real quick. I'm gonna go over this center section at least so I can make sure that it's nice and clean. Cleaned it once and put some of this stuff on there just for lubrication. I'm gonna go over this whole thing, make sure I get anything on the windshield or window off. Probably gonna do it, I guess. Sometimes there's gonna be stuff in the window you can't get off. It's a 41-year-old truck, so wipe this down one more time. Inside's dirty too. I cleaned all these windows already once. All right, we'll set that aside. Oh. Legs are a little sore. Last weekend I ended up going to the science museum with my kiddos and a friend. Ended up doing a foot race. They have a little foot race section. So did that little foot race because my kids have been wanting to race me and see if they're faster than me. Alright, so right now I'm measuring. That's 47, so we're going to use that as our measurement to try to get this center. So 23 and a half. So 23 and a half will be right there. So let me grab some tape so I can mark that with a piece of masking tape. Here, 23.5. If I can hold it right. Right there. I'm gonna grab a marker too. I'm gonna mark that as well so I know exactly where that line is. All right, I've measured again and I put my mark at that 23.5 mark. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna take my decal with a piece of masking tape and we're gonna try to line this up. It's not, I mean, it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be pretty close. So, okay. So I'm going to make it to where the Z is in the middle. I want it to be straight. I'm just going to use the old eagle eye here because that's good enough for me. So I'm going to tape that and that'll hold me in place. So I can then lift it up and I can actually pull away the paper from it. And then I'll be able to just lay it down as I'm going. So I'm going to get this right here started. Okay, and we'll use our little squeegee deal here as we're going down pulling the paper, and that'll help make sure we're getting it nice and put on that window. You slowly go down it as you go, and if I start selling some decals like this for you guys, this will pretty much be the same process because there we go. But they will just be smaller, and I still need to get a Facebook and a YouTube logo for this as well. A couple little bubbles. Nothing I'm not gonna really be too concerned about. You just go over the whole thing, just making sure that it's nice and attached. Off. And here's the key. That's what I like doing. Get a corner, get it to where it's right on the edge of a letter. You just want to pull away from it. Every so often bring your thumb back up to that edge so you're getting a nice pull from where it's attached. And you can even use your whole hand if you want. That's awesome. I'm really liking that. The reason you're pulling it so far at an angle like this is you don't want those letters to pull up with this stuff. This is another decal that my friend's wife made me for the channel. I think I got one more little one left, and that one might go on my van. Heck yeah, that is awesome. Pull off that tape for our measurements, and all we gotta do now is clean up and enjoy the decal. That's awesome. That looks super good. That white and gold really looks good. That's awesome. I think it looks really good on there, especially when we go to get some gold pinstripe on this truck later on in the future. Tie everything together. Well, that's gonna call it for this episode of Twisted Wrench Garage. We got a few things done that really didn't cost us anything. We got that radio going, got those wipers fixed, got that mirror as well fixed. got that decal put on. I've been putting off. I just wanted to get it put on video for you guys. That way, whenever I do finally start selling some decals, you guys know how to put them on, because I think we're going to be making them ourselves. So, you know, out of vinyl, just at home. So we'll see what happens with that. But I do appreciate you guys tuning in. You know, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you guys would like. Don't forget to join that Twisted crew for just 99 cents a month. You can be the sponsor of the channel, and also be a part of getting access to some member-only posts and possibly live streams if I ever get to that point. Again, I do appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll see you guys next time.